wrestling.
In sports, if you want to be the best, there are no off days.
I feel like I have Krispy Kreme remnants on my lips. Am I
do.
good? Am I?
No, the way you inhaled that donut just before we started taping, how could there be any crumbs left?
I know. Welcome into the nodpod. I'm Scott Smith. This is Chris Cato. BK's in the booth. We'll catch up with him momentarily. You did bring Krispy Kreme donuts in, so part of your ever popular 7 p.m.
The Florida Tonight Show, yeah.
So what was that segment for? Why did you
don't know why we were eating donuts on
That's
TV,
nice.
but sometimes you just do, you know?
We had a big debate a couple weeks ago in the sports office about how many donuts, how many boxes of Krispy Kreme donuts you could eat in, I think the time was, it was 10 minutes. And I said, I think I could eat 4 boxes.
4 dozen.
4 of just the basic Krispy Kreme glazed.
Yeah.
They have to be the warm ones, though, right out. Because I think they dissolve into nothing.
They do. It's like cotton candy.
Yeah.
It disappears in your mouth.
48 donuts.
You would be so sick, I think, 4 boxes.
Oh, yeah. No, I wouldn't want to do this. It would, I'd have to be paid. I'd have to be compensated in some way. Kind of like our friend Joey Chestnut, 16
He's back.
mustard belts. Congratulate. Nobody pays greater homage to the World Eating Federation's champion than we do. And Joey Chestnut did it again. I mean, he 70 and a half dogs in 10 minutes. So he honored our great country while desecrating his own bowels, and we commend you, Joey Chestnut. He got it done. That is now 16 mustard yellow belts. He did kind of share some of his training tactics, techniques, maybe we should say, and it includes neck raises with a 16-pound bag attached to leather straps that hang from a mouth guard.
Okay.
So
you're lifting 16 pounds with your jaws. They call them jaws.
Yeah. So you got that, and then he does some burping exercises.
I do those every day.
Homer Simpson. I wonder how far through the alphabet he could burp. What do you think? He gets to? Could he do it the whole way?
Well, it's Joey. He's going to do it the whole way and then some. And does it become belching? When does it go from a burp to a belch?
I think he's all belch.
Yeah, it's all belch.
Yeah, it's not going to be all belch. Then he uses an electric stimulation machine on his abdomen to relax his muscles.
Oh.
So it's like, it's kind of flowy. Oh. He's ready to go.
I'd never leave the house if I had one of those. I want the full body
I can't
treatment.
muster the strength to move. And then he says he channels his inner anger. And I think if you watch him chow down on those dogs, there's a lot of anger towards those hot dogs.
Towards his
What
stomach.
did those dogs ever do? Yeah, right. No doubt. There actually is a challenge that has come about now in the days after the 4th. That is, if you eat a hot dog and run 100 meters... So you eat the hot dog, run 100 meters. Who would win? Usain Bolt or Joey Chestnut?
You start at the same time.
Start at the same time.
Right.
Got to eat a hot dog and then run 100 meters.
Oh.
We'll bring BK in. Welcome in, BK. So this is a nice little challenge to think through, a little mental exercise for your podcast day. So eat a hot dog, run 100 meters. Who wins? Usain Bolt, who I believe ran a sub 10-second, I think it was like a 9.5 or something like that, 100-meter dash. But, of course, Joey will inhale a hot dog in a fraction of a second.
Under 8 seconds, according to a TikTok video. He can eat one dog in under 8 seconds, so he's getting how much of a head start on...
Under 8 seconds?
Yes.
No, he could do it faster than that. Don't you think? Joey Chestnut, 8 seconds?
Oh,
that seems
it's
like
got to
an
be
eternity.
faster. I mean, we could do the math, but it's especially just that one.
I mean...
That one, he could breathe.
He averaged 8.5 seconds per dog when you go all 70 and a half dogs.
Yeah.
Right.
But his first, he was averaging like.
Oh, I see. He's faster in the beginning.
Very,
and
very
slows down.
yeah,
all right,
very,
so let's
very much
say
faster.
it's 7 seconds or 6
No,
seconds.
I think it's like 3 seconds.
3 or 4, as well as I
Yeah.
would say. Yeah.
So my money's on Chestnut. I know he's probably not a great sprinter, but I think by the time you probably have to swallow. I think that's part of the test here.
Or you have to
think so.
swallow.
I think so. You can't run with the hot dog in your mouth. You got to eat it. So you got to consume the hot dog, and he's just going to put that thing down like a garbage disposal. I mean, it's gone, and then he's taken off. And I think Usain Bolt is going to – he might choke on it,
He could.
I don't know if he'll be able to pick up the ground. So my money's on Chestnut.
I think Chestnut wins by probably 10 seconds.
Yeah.
I think so. 10 seconds. Wow.
I'd like to see his running form, though.
That's the thing. You
I
don't
want
know
to
how
see
good
him
he
run
can
after 70 hot dogs in his stomach. What does that look like?
I think he would leave quite the trail. It'd be easy to follow him.
We got to clean up on lane 6. Yeah. Oh, not very good. Welcome in, BK, and happy post-mortem on the 4th of July. Did you guys have fun? Did you blow up some fireworks? Did you do any of that?
Didn't do any fireworks this year.
No.
It was kind of raining too. So.
I think they're still shooting them off in my neighborhood.
Are they?
Yeah. It's just... It never ends.
Freedom.
It's a week-long
Start.
celebration.
Yes, it's a week-long at
Independence every night there.
least. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what do we have on today's big program?
Hey, another friend of the program. We keep rolling them in here. We got Ken Rosenthal.
There we go.
Oh, yeah.
Fox Sports, Major League Baseball reporter, insider. Talked to him about we got the All-Star game coming up right here
week.
on Fox. Yeah.
Yeah.
Collector of bow ties.
He
obviously.
loves the bow ties, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Good cause too. So yeah, we'll talk to him. He's a good guy. I mean, man's got some knowledge. I'd like to get his thoughts, see what he says about the Rays. If the Rays going to make a move here in the second half, do they need to make a move?
Yeah. Got the big trade deadline. We talk All-Stars. What he thinks of the young gun, Junior Caminero.
Yeah.
And will he be competing in the home run derby? That's what I want to know.
Let's hope so.
As of right now, we don't have the word, but he deserves a spot. I think he deserves a spot there.
Yeah.
And probably the All-Star game, too. Cool. And then at the end of the program, what do you got?
How about the July edition of the Nodpod Gazette, guys?
Okay. Did we miss a month? Did we?
I don't know.
Have we been paying our subscription?
Well, the Gazette has had some massive layoffs. I don't know if you've seen, but print not doing so well these days. So they don't run monthly anymore.
Okay.
Kind of every 6 weeks or so. They crank one out.
Bi-yearly?
Yeah. By then the headlines Ukraine invaded by Russia. It's 2 years later. Thanks, Gazette.
Yeah.
We're trying back here,
Okay.
guys.
Very good.
So we'll do that, yeah.
All right. Thanks, BK.
Thanks, man.
If you're listening and you want to watch, go to fox13news.com/nodpod. If you're watching and you want to listen or subscribe, you can take out your phone, tap the QR code on the screen, and head to our show page. Feel free to leave comments on the YouTube channel or a 5-star review on iTunes. Please subscribe, fox13news.com/nodpod. All right, so I love a good Netflix series, a good Netflix doc series. And they
Poop
always,
Cruise? You like the Poop Cruise?
The Poop Cruise.
Yeah, have you seen the Poop Cruise?
No. Is that the name of it?
Yeah, it's the series where these horrible things happen, and they're real things that happen. And this cruise ship that went out, I don't know, in 2010 and got stranded for a number of days with people at sea. And anyway, there's a reason it's called the Poop Cruise. There was some plumbing issues aboard.
Yeah, sounds like it.
That's not what's gotten you through the summer, though.
There's no hot dog eating contests on that ship.
No.
Nah, that would be bad news. Although that does sound like it's going to go in the queue. No, the new Netflix quarterback series is out, and I have yet to catch an episode, but there are some headlines coming out of it that I think are quite compelling. Kirk Cousins on it yet again. So, everything seems like to come up roses for Cousins. I mean, over the years, he's had a nice long career in the NFL, and he's fought for starting jobs and put up some good numbers and had some good stops along the way. But yeah, his latest decision to head to Atlanta was probably not the best, although he's still getting paid. I mean, to this date, he has not been traded or sent away. So, but he said that he feels like he was misled by the Falcons when they drafted Michael Penix in the first round of the draft last year, which he said, it wouldn't have surprised me had they taken a quarterback in the draft. He kind of expected that to happen, but to take one so early, he did feel misled. And I think so, right? Like that should have been. I don't know why they don't disclose that, but then again, maybe they didn't feel like they needed to until the cards fell their way. But again, they made a jump for Penix, so I think that was probably their plan all along. But
it turned out to be the right call, right? Because Kirk's still coming off that Achilles repair, and he wasn't himself last season. He just didn't have the mobility, and Penix looked pretty good when they put him in there at the end of the year.
I don't know. He did say that if he had to replay it back, that he might not have left Minnesota. Minnesota did offer him another contract, and he turned it down, and instead went to Atlanta. And I just wonder what might have been if he stays in Minnesota, and J.J. McCarthy gets injured. So now he has the starting role back again in an offense that he's comfortable in and a place that he loves to play for and team he loves to play for. You have no Sam Darnold breakout, which means that you don't have a Geno Smith leaving Seattle most likely. I mean, he probably stays there instead of going to Las Vegas. So we have a little bit of a Kirk Cousins butterfly effect here because of this decision.
It sounds like it. But what if he stays in Minnesota and plays? I still believe he was diminished after returning from that injury. If he doesn't play well, then maybe you still have a Sam Darnold situation.
Perhaps. I don't know. I think it would have taken a lot. You know, the thing is part of it was an adjustment, I think, to the Atlanta offense. But Cousins played right out of the gates. And the Bucs faced him, and he put up 500 yards on him.
Well, of course he played well against the Bucs, but that's about it.
Yeah, 2 times. I mean, I don't know. I think he was slowed a little bit by it, but yeah, I don't know what might have been. Also coming out of that Netflix series is Joe Burrow is another one of the quarterbacks in this, and he talked about his the home burglary that happened last year, and that's no laughing matter. But he did say that like the issue with that is it made him think again about the big purchase that went viral that he was going to make. He was going to buy a $3 million Batmobile replica, and he says, you know what? Now I can't even do that. And that's a shame, Like, he really should get the Batmobile.
Well, is it because he doesn't feel secure anyway? He can't.
I think so. I think that's part of it.
Wouldn't a Batmobile in your driveway, though, keep you safer? Wouldn't burglars be less likely to go after your home if you had the Batmobile parked out there?
No, I don't know. I think he's misplacing his Batman. His fondness for Batman is misplaced. He needs a Bat Cave. Because a Bat Cave won't get burglarized. And then you can park your Batmobile in the Bat Cave.
Yeah, who's going to steal from a Bat Cave?
In college football news, Urban Meyer, he has mentioned that he was offered a college football GM position, and he entertained it for about a half a second. So he didn't disclose what college that was that offered him this, but he said that, he goes into the meeting and he's like, they reach out. I'll give the time of day to at least listen to their pitch. So he says, what's the job description? And they say, it's basically you meet with agents of 17 and 18-year-olds. And then Meyer, he said, after a half second of thought, he says, I'd rather step on a rusty nail and pull it out myself.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Not a ringing endorsement.
I think that's, I think I'll politely decline this opportunity. I do wonder, though, like, what is the appeal of the college football GM? I mean, I know that if you're in that track, right, like you're in kind of a front office mode, then yeah, of course that would be a great opportunity for people. But if you're a coach, especially specifically a college football coach, what's the appeal of being the GM for that? Like, because it seems like in the NFL at least, there's an appeal of like if you are coach, like Bill Belichick, like coach and general manager of the Patriots. So I get to coach the players, and then I also get to pick out the groceries. That's nice. I get to fill my roster out the way I want to. But college football coaches already do that. Like they're already in charge of their own recruiting and getting who they want. So really the GM role is the part that you don't want, and that's negotiating with agents, right?
Yeah.
And then maybe having a bad taste in your mouth about some of these player negotiations and how it plays out, right? I mean, I totally understand Urban Meyer's kind of wincing at that.
Well, I think for Urban, it doesn't make sense because he's won 3 national championships. He's made millions of dollars coaching college football and his brief stint with Jacksonville. So, yes, this would be a lesser role for him. He has no interest in grinding and no interest in talking to those agents of the 17 and 18-year-olds. But perhaps a coach who has not reached that level of accomplishment in his career, perhaps this would appeal to him. But I think what you're seeing is more of these major college football programs, they're not hiring coaches to be their GM. They're hiring guys with front office experience. Jim Nagy with Oklahoma is probably the best example, has been in many NFL front offices, never any college football experience, but he's been in many NFL front offices, was the director of the Senior Bowl, which is all about player evaluation, right, and evaluating these guys. And he's not making a killing. His salary, $1.5 million at Oklahoma, but I could
peanuts.
see the peanuts, right? I could see the appeal, though, for someone like him to go into a program with that kind of reputation as Oklahoma and try to reshape the roster. And you said that, well, the head coach is already in charge of the roster. Yes and no. I mean, I think now with NIL, there's less of that. Coaches have less control because it does come down to negotiations, and now you have this revenue sharing where you almost have a salary cap in college football. So you're going to need a guy who can move some of those numbers around.
But you can target whoever you want. That's my point. Like whether you get them or not, that's a matter of how we work out the contract details. But every head coach in college football can say, we want that guy, we want that. We want all these 5 stars. We want all these 4 stars. Now, whether they're going to get them or not is another matter entirely, but you get to pick it out. Like in the NFL, you cannot do that, right? So a head coach can say, yeah, I want I want Baker Mayfield to be my quarterback, but he's under contract with another team, and maybe the GM says, well, we can't afford him, whatever it might be. So I think that maybe the appeal is to those either that have front office experience or like a former coach like Urban Meyer that maybe doesn't have to put in as many hours. Like maybe it's a little bit more cushy gig. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't require. We know that college football coaches work around the clock. At least most of them. We'll get to that story in a moment. How about UNC donors? They are very angry at Bill Belichick, reportedly. So numerous emails obtained through a public records request show a stunning lack of support for the Tar Heels' new football coach. And the heart of most of these emails seems to center around Mr. Belichick's love interest, Jordan Hudson, and her kind of high visibility position within the school and at practice and social media, whatnot. Some of those complaints are about maybe the overpayment of like what the school paid to get Belichick. Some about the hiring of his son to coach the defense, and it's nepotism, whatever it might be. One email actually said that Bill Belichick is a disgrace to UNC, and I'm just like, Bill Belichick is now I understand this is a little bit of a blot, because it's garnering so much attention off the field, which has been so antithetical to Bill Belichick's whole career. Right. He's just about the ball. Right. And so this is like this big turnabout in his career. So it is drawing a lot more attention, but a disgrace. Remind me the last time UNC won a national championship.
In football?
That would be never. Remind me of the last time they won an ACC. I had to dig this up. It was 1980. Wow. So, like, I get it. Like, I understand. Like, there's an aversion to all the off-the-field stuff. But put that aside. Like, to call Bill Belichick a disgrace or whatever he's doing, like, let the guy coach a game. Like, let him get through his first season. And this guy won 6 Super Bowl titles as a head coach, like, and 8 overall as an assistant too. Like, it's just like, what are we talking about? You're UNC, like, you're a great basketball school, like, but you have not proven anything on the football field. So, I don't know. I think like Bill Belichick what is the measure of success? What will tamp down some of these angry emails, if anything? There's one thing, and it's the cure of all things. It's winning. What is that? What is that magic number? What does that look like? Is it a bowl win? Is it like, what is it? Well, I've looked at Vegas. Vegas says 7.5 is the win total for the Tar Heels. I think you have to exceed that. You have to get to a decent bowl. I've said on this show before that I would like to see him in the Duke's Mayo Bowl so that he wins and he gets the gallon of mayonnaise dumped on his head. But no, I think you've got to make a strong showing in an ACC that is winnable. Just looking at their schedule here, pretty manageable. You have to play Clemson, but they're coming to you. But you avoid Miami, you avoid Florida State. So I think 9 wins, and you show people what's possible there. I would agree. Yeah, I think if you hit right around 9 wins, I think that quiets some of it. Some people, will never be satisfied. The whole point is not even about the on the field success. It's just they see this target and they think, oh, this is unbecoming of our program or whatever it might be, or maybe they're not even football fans. Who knows? But anyway, he's catching some flack there up in Chapel Bill, old Chapel Bill. All right, finally, our last college football coach story. Hugh Freeze is also under fire, though his golf game is on fire. It is en fuego right now, Chris. He has posted 10 rounds of golf since the start of June, and he's actually maxed out the number of public rounds that he's allowed to when trying to get your handicap score. So, meaning that he's at least over 20 golf rounds in the calendar year. which
Wow.
I wouldn't say 20 rounds in a calendar year. Where are we at? Middle of July. I think it's probably not ridiculous, right? But you take into consideration, like, he is a college football head coach,
right,
competing in the SEC. And so he did just struggle a little bit with this latest recruiting class. I think they had a handful of decommitments.
They did.
That might have coincided with a round or two of golf. And so people are saying, well, what is this guy into more? Getting his handicap down to single digits or making us into national title contenders again?
Yeah, it's definitely drawn the ire of some Auburn fans, and it's become kind of a punching bag. You've seen Lane Kiffin trolling him on social media, as Lane does very well.
He's very good at that.
But I think it boils down – well, first of all, we don't know what all these golf outings were like. I mean, you do have to still rub elbows with big donors and boosters, right? I mean, who's to say he's not out playing rounds with guys that he's going to be asking for more NIL money from?
He better be. I mean, I would think that would make a whole lot of sense. But I think that the thing is like he's actually very good, and I think his handicap is like a 7 point something, 7.8.
Okay.
I thought this. So he's a good little golfer, and he's a good little golfer, and so but. Yeah, it sounds like that is like the ambition here. So maybe he is. He's mixing company and pleasure, business and pleasure for these golf outings. But either way, I think when you're looking at your recruiting class finishing 86th in, that's for the is that the 2025 class? 2026 class.
Yeah. I think though you have to. So is this going to lead to a lot of these coaches that like to play golf not posting their scores under their real name? That's what I would stop doing. I'm just going to say, okay, well, I'm not going to play as Chris Cato anymore. I'll be Scott Smith when I go out next time.
I would say probably most wouldn't have to worry about it because they're probably not playing as much golf as you.
Yeah.
But, that being said, I guess the question is would you rather have the 86th ranked recruiting class and a 7 handicap or have a top 20 recruiting class and, be a triple bogey golfer?
Well, if I'm a fan of that program, I want the top 20 recruiting class.
You're the head coach.
If I'm the golfer, if I'm the coach, if I have an 86 ranked recruiting class, I'm not going to be a head coach for much longer. I mean, Hugh knows this is a pivotal year for him. This is year 3. He has nothing to show for in the first 2 years, not even making a bowl game his first 2 years. And he's got a roster this year. That's the thing. Like, you were talking about the 2026 class, but this team this year, he's got some talent at wide receiver. Yeah, maybe he's confident. Yeah. And he kind of said that the other day at a news conference. He kind of said, once we start playing games, all this stuff will shake itself out. So,
yeah, I say give me the 86th ranked recruiting class and a 7 handicap because I want to be golfing a lot longer than I'm coaching, and I want to feel good about my game. I want to be able to roll in there and be able to, rip some straight drives.
Beat Steve Spurrier and other old coaching golfers like that.
No doubt. All right, coming up on the No Off Days podcast, we're going to talk a little baseball as we approach the All-Star break. Going to catch up with one of the baseball greats for Fox, Ken Rosenthal, joins us next. Are you more into the home run derby, Chris, or the All-Star game? I asked you this last week, I think.
The All-Star game, Scott.
Okay.
It's the best one in major sports.
It is very good. I'm a big home run derby guy, but I do love the All-Star game as well. You know why I love it most? Because it's on Fox. Yeah. And I always get to look forward to seeing Ken Rosenthal in his bow tie, digging up some good stories, some great conversations. We're going to have one with him right now on the No Off Days podcast. Where many leagues have kind of tinkered with format and substance of their All-Star games over the years, what is it about the MLB All-Star game that kind of still resonates and actually generates excitement from the fan base?
Well, actually, MLB has tinkered with it too. Remember, for a number of years, Scott, they had that this time it counts thing where it determined home field advantage for the World Series. They've since abandoned that. But what makes the game unique is seeing all of the teams represented and seeing all of the best players in one place on one stage. Now, this year, we're also going to see the players in their real uniforms, not phony all-star uniforms, but their actual team's uniforms. It's something a lot of fans were upset about when they were doing those generic American and national uniforms. Now you'll see the Tampa Bay Rays in the Tampa Bay Rays uniforms. So that is a positive thing for this year, but it's just seeing the best players, the best matchups. Skubal versus Ohtani, for instance. If Skubal starts the game for the American League and faces Shohei Ohtani leading off, that would be something to see.
And there is a level of effort that it seems is generated in the MLB game that maybe we don't see in some of the other showcases, right? Because at the end of the day, it seems like an all-star nod carries more weight to a player's resume and what they do, and it really has an opportunity to kind of showcase their brand. I mean, we look at this Rays team that now sends three. You got Junior Caminero, Jonathan Aranda, and Brandon Lau. Not necessarily household names across the landscape, but when they go into a game like this, they really have an opportunity to make a name for themselves as they get that national audience. Is that kind of how you see one of the differences here with this All-Star game?
I do agree with that. And in the case of Caminero in particular, he's a guy who is young. He is rising as a star. He is probably not the player he's going to be, as opposed to Aranda, who you can make the same case for, that he's still improving. Brandon Lau is who he is, really good player. So for Caminero, yeah, it could be a showcase. It could be a coming out party for a guy like that and other young players as well. We saw it last year. Paul Skeens started for the National League. People knew who he was, but they got a greater understanding of Paul Skeens after watching him pitch.
One of the things that, as you mentioned, that they've tinkered with is the now recent addition of the automatic balls and strike system to this All-Star game. It seems this is an inevitable kind of snowball down the hill. But are you a fan of the technology, and how quickly do you think it's going to be implemented during the regular season?
I'm a fan of it on a limited basis, which is how it's going to be used in the All-Star game and how it would be used if MLB adopts it next season, which I entirely expect the league to do. With the challenge system, a player can challenge 2 times a game. If you win your challenge, you get to retain it. It's just like with replay. And what it will do, what it should do, is correct egregious calls, egregious misses by the umpires. And there's an element of strategy with it as well. Do you use your challenge early? Do you risk it at that point? Or do you preserve it for later in the game and perhaps an even more important spot? On balance, it's going to be good for the game. It's going to be an adjustment. The strike zone is going to be different with ABS than it is right now. It's going to be a little shaped differently. But again, players have a good way of adjusting to innovations like this. They adjusted to replay. They adjusted to the bigger bases, to the pitch clock, all these things, and they'll do it with ABS as well.
All right, we're going to take a quick timeout, Chris, but on the other side, more our conversation with Ken Rosenthal. Welcome back to the No Off Days podcast. The All-Star break is nearly upon us, and boy, it's been an interesting ride for your Tampa Bay Rays the first half of the season. Some downs, some ups, real high ups, and hopefully that kicks off what will be a great resolution in the second half of the season. But they're going to need a little break right now, a little breather. We just had a little breather in our conversation with Ken Rosenthal from MLB on Fox. Is there a question you would like to direct his way in the next portion of our interview?
Worst question he's ever gotten from an interviewer.
Okay, I'm probably going to deliver that right now.
So this is the third time that Atlanta has hosted. It's been 3 different venues each time. It seems like there's a 2-decade plus gap between each one, but Truist Park is the location. When you get to go to these All-Star games, I got to imagine it's pretty cool to roll into a city and see the proverbial red carpet and literal red carpet that they roll out for an event like this, and how it's an opportunity for not just the baseball team to host, but it's how you see like the city kind of getting behind it between the signage and all that they do to really show off their city, right?
Totally agree. And Atlanta has been waiting for this. It's supposed to be in Atlanta in 2021. It got moved out. So this is going to be a big celebration. And Atlanta has a great history of baseball, Hank Aaron and so many others. So from that perspective too, it's going to be really cool. Truist Park is kind of a model for the newer ballparks. It's the one that kind of Tampa Bay wanted to build in St. Petersburg when the Rays were still looking at that, because you have not just a stadium, but you build a neighborhood around it with shops and restaurants and all these things that kind of enhance the experience for fans. So from that perspective alone, it's going to be fun in Atlanta, and I'm sure it'll be hot down there, but I'm sure it'll be a blast as well.
So wait, Ken, are you telling me that Steinbrenner Field is not the model? It's not the model?
Steinbrenner Field is not the model, but it is interesting to me. I don't want to cause any controversy here and get this whole argument started, but they've done fairly well in Tampa, granted, with a limited capacity ballpark. That is where there is significant interest in the team. Not that there isn't in St. Petersburg, but you build a ballpark in Tampa, maybe you'd have a better chance of seeing that team draw better.
But to that point, there was a recent, I guess, article about the leagues kind of weighing and contemplating the decision what to do. I know we're still only halfway there, but should the playoffs roll around and the Rays are hosting games, that maybe there's a different venue, or they have to kind of outfit Steinbrenner Field a little bit differently for the capacity and all that comes with the hosting the ALCS or even potentially the World Series. What do you think the best remedy is should that situation actually pop up?
Well, I was the one actually who wrote this, and what I understand and what I wrote is that for the first 2 rounds, the wild card round and the division series, Steinbrenner Field would be adequate. You could do it there. It's not ideal. It's not a major league facility. We all know that. You don't have the camera angles that you'd see in a major league park. But in terms of capacity, in terms of just getting the event off the ground, those 2 rounds, you could do it. The problem becomes in the ALCS and World Series, MLB devotes a certain number of tickets to partners, sponsors, broadcasters, media, all kinds of different people. And for the World Series, it's 7,500 tickets per game in a park that seats 10,000, and that's not going to work. So they would have to move it at that point. Again, my understanding, Miami would be the obvious location. I don't know that it would be the preferred location of Tampa Bay Rays fans, but it seems like something along those lines would be the way that they would go.
Yeah, and if there's ever an incentive to travel, obviously it's with the game with stakes is high for the fan base. All right, back to we have home run derby first on deck. By the way, do you have a pick in the home run derby? I don't know if the whole field is set yet, but
it's not completely set. O'Neal Cruz is a fascinating guy. He is the king of exit velocity. He hits some home runs very fast and very far. So I'm interested to see him in this event. Cal Raleigh, of course, has 36 home runs as we sit here today, and certainly he's going to be someone looked at very closely. It's always fun, and I'm sure it will be again this year.
To zoom into the second half now, as we make this turn, Rays have, locally, they've started a little slow. Red hot in June. We saw what this team is at least capable of doing. Cooled off a little bit here recently. What do you make of this team as we approach this trade deadline? Are they a team that is going to be buyers going into the market? Do they need to address the bullpen? How would you size that up?
They definitely need to address the bullpen, but to classify the Rays as a buyer or seller is always a dangerous thing to do, because more often than not, what they do is both. And they will trade players as they start to make money, trade players from surplus if they have a surplus, and then they will also acquire players that they need. And you mentioned the bullpen. That seems to be for sure the area of need. So could I see them parting with a player who is on their club right now and contributing to get that help? Yeah, I could see that. I could also see them trading younger players to get that need. A guy named Zach Littell is a very interesting player. Now, McClanahan's coming back. Zach is a good, competent major league pitcher at a time when teams desperately need confident starting pitching. So could he be traded for help in another area? I can definitely see that happening.
All right, Ken, what's the bow tie choice? Is that a secret, or can we get a sneak preview as to what the bow tie choice is going to be?
Not a secret. It's going to be Stand Up to Cancer, and I'm going to be wearing it in honor of 2 baseball writers who recently passed away. Scott Miller was one. He lived out in the West Coast. He worked for CBS Sportsline, New York Times, other publications, and Jim Henneman from Baltimore, a guy who kind of raised me in the business. He is another one.
Very good. Well, we are looking forward to the big game and seeing you out there, and I'm sure it's going to be a blast as always. And hopefully Junior Caminero puts on a little show at this home run derby, and then the young fella gets noticed here. Ken, we appreciate your time.
Thank you, Scott.
It was nice chatting with Ken Rosenthal. I bet, I didn't look through his old Wikipedia page, but I'm guessing he probably did some years at a newspaper. I'm guessing he's got some news. I don't know if he ever worked for the newspaper of ill repute. That would be the Nodpod Gazette. We're going to get into our headlines next in our fun block. We'll bring BK in coming up on the Nodpod.
Ken Rosenthal newspaper. No, I don't think so.
Welcome back to the No Off Days podcast. You've waited long enough, folks. It is our fun block. It's time to bring in Brian King, Mr. Fun. Here we go, BK. All right, you have curated all the top headlines coming out of the nodpod Gazette headquarters.
That is correct, Scott. I have, and what I'm going to do is give you these headlines. Some are true, some are false.
Of course.
Yes, you and Cato got to determine which is which.
Let's get our truth sniffers out.
Who is managing this paper these days?
I don't know, man. I mean, it's
a
ragtag bunch.
They don't care about fake news.
I was off for that 3 weeks, and it went to crap.
Do you think we can use Grok to figure out if these are true or not?
I think Gronk wrote these.
Gronk may have written. Very well may have written these.
Gronk wrote them, yeah.
You ready for the first one?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, headline number 1, a return rescue. A man is rescued twice after trying to retrieve his phone. A man in Japan had to be rescued off Mount Fuji twice in 4 days when he returned to go get his phone that he left behind. Is this true or false, guys?
Oh, my goodness.
You know, this happens to all of us. You know, you climb a mountain, you get back down to the bottom, and hey, start checking your pocket. Where's my... Yeah.
I got to text my wife and tell her I got to the bottom. Oh, my gosh. I got to go back up. All right. We'll see you guys.
Now, where am I going to find my Hire a Sherpa app?
Oh, my gosh. I just put that white case on there, too. It's going to be tough to find it. Yeah. There's no way that is true. I mean, a phone is not that valuable, all that stuff, unless he did not subscribe to additional megabytes of iCloud space, then all of his stuff might just be on his phone. So maybe he has
everything.
There could be, everything, like pictures of his children
wedding
growing
photos.
up, and he never stored it anyway.
All of his passwords.
I can't imagine a person that is thought through every conceivable way of getting up and doing one of the great human feats of climbing Mount Fuji. Fiji?
Mount Fuji. Yeah.
Okay, Fiji is it's much smaller.
It's an island, I believe.
Yeah, and they have delicious water too. I'm going to say it is fake news, false.
All right,
not true.
I think it's absolutely true. I think we are that idiotic as a society now, where we don't know how to function without these rectangular pocket computers that run our lives. So I think he got to the bottom, did the biggest exasperated sigh ever. And turned his butt right back around and climbed back to the top.
No, he got into his car and tried to punch in Google Maps to find his way home, and he couldn't.
That's when he realized. I think it's true.
It is absolutely true. Wow. 4 days after being airlifted off the mountain, a 27-year-old made another emergency call after he suffered altitude sickness when trying to go back and look for the cell phone he left behind.
So he was airlifted. He was rescued the first time.
Yeah.
And that's when he
And he had.
Did he make it down the second time?
Yeah, but another climber had to find him, and he was the guy was up there unable to move.
So he had to be rescued twice.
Twice in 4 days. How about that?
You'd think the phone would have told him how to get off the mountain.
Yeah,
find my phone or something.
Yeah. Get an Apple Watch,
or something. Yeah.
Stop climbing mountains.
Find
a new hobby. Oh my goodness.
All right, headline here. In-flight U-turn. A passenger's violent bout with diarrhea.
Oh, boy.
Forces
that was what? Poo shit.
This is the poop cruise.
Very close to it. Forces a plane to turn around 2 hours into a flight. True or false?
I mean, these things have happened before.
No.
You've heard of medical emergencies turning planes around.
That is not a medical emergency.
Sorry, a bout with violent diarrhea? That sounds like a medical emergency.
It's not. There's no pilot that's going to turn a flight around because one. Now, did they say one person? Now, if everybody had the fish, like the movie Airplane, what was it? Just one person? Did the story give that information?
Yeah, just one person.
No, they're not turning around. Sorry, you're on your own. That's why we have bathrooms back there.
But what if this person?
I'm going to trap you in there. You're not coming out of that bathroom, but you're. But they're not turning a plane around.
Too often the lavatory's full, and this guy, if this is a case of explosive diarrhea, he's going to go in.
So it already.
Yes.
The fireworks.
Try not to be too
been
descriptive, but yeah,
okay.
Then you got a full-blown contamination situation with other passengers possibly getting exposed to this stuff. I think it's true.
It's just a
spray. Think this was not the poop cruise. This was the poop flight.
Oh no! I say no. It's not. There's no way that can be true.
Cato is dead on it. It's absolutely true.
What?
A plane en route from Atlanta to Barcelona was forced to return after an onboard medical emergency causing a messy trail of diarrhea left behind by a struggling passenger.
They ate at Varsity before they left. That's what they did. They went and had one of those creamsicle milkshakes and one of those nasty chili dogs.
Yeah, just like Cato said, it ultimately created a biohazard situation. They had to turn the plane around, go back to Atlanta. Crews had to clean up the plane. Took them 5 hours. They had to replace the carpet. This was a mess.
Boy, this guy was he blew
was
up.
the passenger's name Chestnut by any chance?
Well, might have been. But after the delay, all the passengers got back on the plane.
No!
Including the guy who was sick.
Oh, imagine having to sit there with that look of shame for an international flight.
It
to
was
Spain.
not the same plane, though, right?
It was. They had to replace the carpet. Yeah.
They had to replace the
Imagine
carpet.
that delay.
Wow. And
8 hours,
you know
they
the
said.
guy who did it. So this guy, he has wrecked everyone's vacation. They're supposed to be in Spain already. They've had to turn around, and he's got to sit there with all of these. Oh, my gosh.
Sorry.
All right, here we go. 2 left feet. A man in Kansas is arrested after a string of shoplifting thefts where he was caught stealing only left shoes.
Left-footed shoes.
Left-footed shoes. He wouldn't take all shoes. He was just taking the left ones. True or false?
Okay. Now this is believable. I don't know why. I don't know why you're stealing only left-footed shoes. But those are those the ones on display?
Probably, yeah.
Okay. So he's stealing them off the shelf thinking that maybe he can sell them one at a time.
To a one-footed
On eBay.
person out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's, people, not everybody has 2 feet there, Chris. I know that this picture is misleading because there's nobody that has. First of all, those feet are disgusting and dirty. And why did you pick those pictures, Brian?
Only free ones.
Okay.
They were. I can see why they were free.
Look at that.
No one's paying to see that.
No, first of all 4 the small toes are the same size, and then there's the one giant big toe. Is that
Well, let's
normal?
not
Is
make
that what
fun
your
of-
foot looks like, Chris?
Let's not make fun of the shape of their toes. I think
No,
the problem
but
here.
people don't have. But the 4 toes are different sizes, right? They're not all 4 the same size.
And then you got a big one sticking up there. I think that is the guy from Mount Fuji. That looks like frostbite. That looks like frostbitten feet.
Okay. To the answer here, I'm going to say that this is true. Yeah, I think people steal just one tennis shoe.
Yeah, I think they would. I just don't. I'm playing the odds. He's given us 2 trues in a row. I think this one is.
Brian's more clever than to come up with this.
No, he used the. That's actually not 2 feet there. That's the same foot side by side.
I know.
Yeah. So I'm going false.
It is absolutely false. Good job, Cato. And that is Ron Mullen modeling the feet.
Was
Right
it Ron Mullen's feet?
Ron!
I'm joking.
Oh, Ron!
Put those shoes back on, Ron.
Let's bring.
Oh my gosh. He takes them off in the audio booth, you know that?
He does.
That's what he runs the board with,
He
right?
lets him breathe, yeah.
He
He's all
has his
using
feet
the
up
sliders, with his 4 toes that are all the same length. Weird.
Hey, fellas, want some kitty litter cake? Look what I've baked up back here in audio.
I've been mixing it in the mixing spoon with my foot.
Why did we turn him into an old Southern lady?
Oh, bless your heart. Here, take a bite. Take a bite.
Oh, boy.
Okay.
That was awesome.
All right. So, is there any way I can redeem myself?
I
Do
got-
we have one more.
I
that's
got
worth
one more
4
chance.
By taking your own shoes off. That's how
Okay, Sitting Bull. A Nebraska man is pulled over while driving with a bull riding in the front seat. True or false?
We don't have a make model of the vehicle.
A
A bull.
A
sitting in
bull
the
was-
front seat.
yeah.
I can't imagine any vehicle that would fit a bull. But this. What
Maybe it's not an adult bull. I don't know.
a bull is an adult male.
Maybe it's one of those.
Isn't it?
You've seen the miniature, the shaggy-haired cattle. One of those. Maybe it's one of those.
Maybe it was a Chicago bull.
Oh, it
Maybe
could have
we got a
been.
little play on words.
Yeah.
Or a USF
Was
bull.
it Luke Longley
No,
Yeah.
or Will Purdue?
Yeah, well, I don't think
They
either one of
wouldn't
those
fit in
guys.
a
They
truck
would fit.
either,
Yeah,
would
no.
it's an actual bovine.
And what state did we get? A state?
Nebraska.
Nebraska.
you say? Okay.
Yeah, Nebraska.
Well, they do have bulls there. I'm
Do
pretty
they?
sure.
Okay.
A lot of corn.
Okay.
Bulls eat corn.
I'm going to. Why don't you go first?
Yeah, that's not been working well for you.
Yes,
You going
I
first.
can't be going first.
Can I sniff out if this is bull? I mean, it's plausible. It's plausible.
But the horns.
Yeah, the horn. But you got a window. Stick your horns out the window, right? I'm going to say it's true. This guy was in a position where he didn't have his cattle trailer this day, right? But he had to get old
Bessie.
Old Bessie, and that's not a bull's name. Old Bossy.
Fred.
Old Fred. Had to get old Fred to the vet or to the slaughterhouse. He had to get Fred to the slaughterhouse, and he said, okay, since Fred, this is your last day on Earth, you get to ride up front this time. I say it's true.
Okay. I'm going to go opposite. I think it's false. I think the bull was driving. That's what I think. Okay. I think the bull was driving this vehicle. Okay. That's what they do in Omaha.
Guys, it is absolutely true.
All right.
Roll the VO there. That's Lee Myers. He modified his 1996
Wow.
Crown Victoria, so his 2,200-pound bull. Howdy doody.
Howdy doody.
would
To
you
ride
look
shotgun
at
with
that?
him.
Just look at it.
Police said
those horns are enormous.
He drives it. He takes them in the car to various parades and fairs. Police said he didn't violate any laws, so they just told him to be careful just be careful while driving.
Look, he's wiped off the words of his car. It said Arnold Lice on the side.
It was an actual police car that he cut the roof off and put a little gate on the side. Yeah.
Yeah. That bull doesn't look like it's enjoying itself very much.
You know, you got to swing through the drive-through at least once with old Howdy Doody in there, right? Go through the Starbucks drive-through.
Howdy Doody's like, can you just let me go on the field? Like, do we have to do this thing again? Like, I'm crammed in here. I'm obviously not able to move at all. Not only that, but I have to go to the bathroom, and I need you to take a U-turn before things go real south.
You don't tailgate that guy.
Yeah.
I'll show you why they call me Howdy Doody. Yeah, he didn't look very comfortable there.
All right. Wow. Did I go 0 for?
You went 0 for 4,
Oh, my gosh.
man.
That's because it's been too long since we played the Nodpod Gazette. Well, thank you very much, BK, for embarrassing me today. I appreciate that. And much thanks to our guest, Ken Rosenthal, friend of the show. He's a Nodpod Fod, and he was back this week. We appreciate his insights. Of course, you can watch the All-Star Game right here on Fox next Tuesday night. And much thanks to our crew. We got Rochelle over here on the jib. We got Chris on the ones and twos. We have his twin brother James on the audio board tonight. Plus, we got BK in the booth. For Chris, I'm Scott. Until the next time we are on, there are no off days.
I thought Ron was on audio. Shoeless Ron.
No. He's picking out left-footed shoes.
Oh.